be on. And Brandy's on too. Hey, Brandy. Hi. Welcome to the
Hi.
I'm excited to have you here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna mute everybody just so there's not background noise. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let me just kind of go over the expectation for book club, which you've already know because I posted it a couple times and we talked about it during the monthly meeting. But I would love, as long as we have consistent interaction, to continue this ongoing. So it's almost been 9 years since I started my Arbonne business. I've done book clubs with our team many times, and I'm more than happy to do them. What I find is they end up just fizzling out, which I wish that wasn't the case. So the more you guys are interactive, the more you make a point of being on Thursday nights, and the more you interact on the Facebook page with the discussion for the week with those who can't be on live, the more beneficial this is going to be for all of us. So you guys are the ones that are going to drive this. There's Nicole. I see her. Hey, Glenda. I see you too. Welcome to book club. You guys are going to be the driving force behind this. And as long as we are active, we will keep this going, like ongoing. I love reading books. I'm on my 4th book of the month. So I have no shortage of books I think would be great for this team to read together. But I don't want this to be me just talking at you guys. So throughout the week, the one thing I ask, and this is what I kind of do myself, is whether you're listening or you're reading, make a point of at least one thing from each chapter that we read that you think is something that really hits home for you, pertains to you. So as we have this discussion, you can bring up that point and we can all talk about it together. I really want this to be discussion. So somebody's going to say something they love from this chapter and we are going to talk back and forth. Okay. In the past, it's been like somebody saying something and then me reiterating the fact and then there's silence. So let's just keep this going as if we're sitting in a family room together as friends, having coffee and reading our book. Okay. So come to the table with one thing that doesn't mean you'll end up sharing, but at least we'll have a lot of things to cover, right? And then at the end of each chapter, starting with chapter 3, I was not prepared when I put up that first post, obviously. I thought chapter 1 was a foreword, and then I thought chapter 2 had homework. So come to find out that is not the case. So chapter 3, so this next week, moving forward with this book in particular, we will be doing 1 chapter a week because they're bigger chapters now, starting with chapter 3. The end of each chapter, there's homework. And like she says in chapter 2, if you're going to get out of this book what she has meant for you, you need to sit down and take time to truly do the homework. Write out your answers. Take time to truly think through the things that she's asking you to think through. And if we have time and you want to bring up something from there, if that's your big aha moment, then we'll talk through those things too. So that's how this is going to work. Chapters 1 and 2 were short, sweet, and they weren't very deep. So there's not a ton to talk about from chapters 1 and 2, given the other chapters. I did just finish the book today and I'm so excited for what's coming. Some of these chapters are like my apps, like I absolutely love them and can't wait to talk about with you guys. So I thought to start today, there's a quick video from Marie Forleo, the author. She actually has a YouTube channel called Marie TV, which she does talk about in the book. So with this book in particular, for the next 9 weeks or however long we're in this, for however many chapters, 7 weeks, for the discussion part, I'm going to post one of her videos that pertains to the chapter that we read for all of us to watch. And then people who can't get on Thursday nights, we can just have discussion there together. Okay. But tonight, there's a quick 3-minute video that I think is a great introduction to this book that I think would be fun to kick off tonight and start. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And we are going to watch this together. Okay. Can you guys see that? All right, here we go. Maybe.
So make no mistake, my friends, what we say to ourselves in the privacy of our own minds matters. It drives our behavior, which drives our destiny, which shapes our world. And this isn't just my opinion. Our entire culture has been transformed by people who believe and behave like everything is figureoutable. Think about the Wright brothers. If they hadn't believed human flight was possible, they wouldn't and couldn't have spent even 1 minute trying to figure it out. If the suffragettes hadn't believed women's voting rights were possible, they wouldn't and couldn't have spent even 1 minute working to make that a reality. And what we need now, more than anything else, is people who believe in what's possible. From healthcare to the environment, to education, to our food system, to inequality and injustice on every level. There are so many important things that we need to come together to figure out. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. What would you do if you held this idea to be true? What would you create or heal or transform or transcend? Who might you become? Because if we start to think about our creative challenges and our life challenges and our collective challenges in this way that everything really is figureoutable, it all starts to change. We go from feeling defeated and overwhelmed and broken to feeling courageous and capable and full of hope. I believe we must teach this to ourselves and to each other and to our children and to our children's children. Because there will be moments in your life when an opportunity is presented to you to do something or say something or change something. And I want you to make a promise to yourself right now that from this day forward, you won't waste 1 more minute of 1 more day saying to yourself, I don't know how to do that. Or I don't know if I have what it takes to be that. Because you and I both know in our heart of hearts, yes, you do. You are divinely blessed and infinitely capable. And there is no fate, no circumstance, no situation that can hinder the unstoppable power of your human soul.
Hi, YouTubers.
Hey, YouTubers. Okay, that was good. That got me fired up in 3 minutes. I'm like, yes, I can. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, just since there's not that much to jump into with the first 2 chapters, which we will if you guys have something that stuck out to you, is go, if you can, I know some of you don't have your books quite yet, but go to the contents and look at the chapters that are coming up in this book. And I would love to hear which chapter you're most excited to read and why. I'll go ahead and go first just so you guys have a chance to like look and see. For those of you, I'll go first, and then does everybody have this where they can see the chapters? Yeah, yes. Okay. Because I can type them in if you need me to, but for me, the one that I loved the most, but I was really excited about it anyways, is chapter 8, Progress Not Perfection. You guys, I am a perfectionist sometimes with certain things in my life, and I do notice that tends to hold me back from, I'm an all or nothing person, and I think that tends to be how perfectionists are. I'm either going to do it 100% or I'm not doing it. And I think especially over the past few months with COVID and being locked inside, I got this mentality in March, like I'm going to eat whatever the heck I want and I'm not going to work out. And for 6 weeks, I was good. Like I didn't gain any weight. I'm thinking, okay, this might just be the new normal. Well, it definitely caught up to me. And the mindset, I have trouble switching, like flipping that switch to get back on track because I'm an all or nothing person. If I'm either going to be all in and I'm going to be 100% on and I'm going to work out every day, hardcore where I'm sweat through my clothes, or I might as well just not do it. And since it's hard to do that, I tend to not do it most of the time. Or I'll get like 3 good days in and then I'll make 1 bad decision and then I'm just done. I'm done and that's it. And something I've been needing to learn, and we hear it all the time, it's just If you just make most of the right decisions most of the time, you're gonna make great progress. And this chapter really laid that out for me and helped me make a really good expectation, create an expectation of myself that's different than anything I've had in the past regarding how I eat and how I work out and getting healthy. So I'm excited for you guys to read that chapter. So, okay, who else wants to share? Go ahead and unmute and just start talking if you guys know how to unmute.
I'll share.
I'll share. Oh,
Nicole,
you want to go, Nicole?
Okay, fine, I'll go. So my favorite thing was in chapter 2 so far of when she was talking that she just had all these jobs, and every 6 months she was just like, wait, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. That it was really, really good for like 6 months, and then it was like, wait, no, this is not really, really good. Here's not where I'm supposed to be. And I've had moments like that in my life, and I'm kind of having a moment like that in my life right now of like counseling and that job of like, am I supposed to be doing this? I really don't know. And to feel that like being validated in someone else who is now super successful, that she's had like 10, 20, 30 jobs in her life, made me feel a little bit better and makes me feel like it's okay to like not be somewhere forever and not like settle for something that isn't really making me happy anymore.
Well, and I think that's part of just like how we were raised, like the generation that we're all in. You were raised to do a job, one job, your whole life. And if you don't do that, it's strange. It's not normal, you know? And you think if somebody has a lot of jobs, they're not career-based jobs like counseling is, right? And so it's cool with her story to see how she had multiple career-focused jobs that were all so different, you know? Who else?
I'll go if no one else is.
Heather was trying to go.
Oh, go ahead, Heather. So I was looking at the next table, like the table of contents, and I think chapter 5 is going to resonate very well with me in the season of life that I'm going through right now. So chapter 5 is how to deal with the fear of anything. And I think just me as a person, like I'm very like, when I get into situations and I look like to the future about things, I start to come up with all of those reasons why it's not going to work out, why I won't love what I'm doing or whatnot. Like currently I am in the process of transitioning out of the ICU. So I'm trying to find a different place in the nursing world that I could fit into. And it's really, really stressful because right now it's like I only know the ICU. So it's like hard for me to think that I can do anything different. So I'm, putting all these scenarios in my head of like why it won't work, and it's a lot of fear, and I know that, and I'm, it's hard to work out of that situation, but I think that that chapter is going to be something that I will definitely take a lot out of.
This whole book will be, I feel like given exactly how you feel right now, this whole book is going to just like speak to you for sure, for sure. And there's she has a ton of videos on her YouTube channel about fear. I think there's like a whole playlist of her videos about fear. So check those out too. Melissa, you want to chime in?
Okay, I think everyone's going to be quiet for a second. Okay, so I have actually read this book once and I loved it, but I'm excited to, I'm listening to it now. Hang on. Guys, be quiet for 1 second, okay? I'm excited to listen again. So the one that I'm actually anxious to hear again that I know I've read, I just can't remember exactly what it's about, is, I think it's called like, it's on Audible, so I don't have it up right now, but I think like Start Before You're Ready, or Getting Started Before You're Ready. And I'm anxious to listen because I feel like there's like a lot in my life that, like Laura said, during the quarantine kind of changed, and I need to restart, but I don't feel ready. And then things in my business that, I'm hoping I can get started with here soon that I may not totally feel ready for, as far as like you know, with my leadership skills or even the volume based or things like that. So I'm just anxious to like listen to that and apply it to things in my life that I might not quite be ready for, but I'm ready to change that. Oh, good, Jordan. Jordan said she's excited for that too.
Yeah.
Yay. I don't even know what chapter that is, but I'll look forward to it.
It is chapter 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a really good chapter. I mean, you've heard it before, obviously, but it's nice because it gives you like what I really have liked about this book so far is she gives you like the idea, the backstory, an example, and then she gives you steps. Like in the chapter, she gives you like, here's what you do. Here are 3 things you need to do. And then she gives you like the homework to think through. So that's a really good chapter for that kind of setup too.
I can go.
Okay.
Well, just to go to the contents, the chapter that I'm excited to read is the refuse to be refused. So that's the one that I'm excited to read about. But also, as I was reading chapter 2, I really enjoyed, there's a quote that she says, we either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. And I think that makes sense to me because, as you guys heard Monday, you only heard a portion of my journey Monday when I talked about it, but going through that whole repromotion process, it's like when I woke up in the morning, I could choose to be miserable, which I did some days, a lot of days, or I could choose to be productive and change what I was going to do to make myself stronger in my mind, make myself stronger as a leader, make myself stronger as a wife and a mother, because all of those things suffered at that time. And so it took the same amount of effort, but you just had to choose which way your effort was going. And so when she said that, it kind of had like a flashback. So, but yeah, so what did she say? When you train your brain for growth, like you say, some people say, I know this already, or this won't work for me. But like we have to switch the way we say it into like, what can I learn from this? Or how can this work for me? And so that just kind of was just resonated again with me and reinforced the fact that making the decision to not be miserable was definitely the right decision.
Where is that quote, Cindy?
It's on the first page of chapter 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that written down too, Cindy. Just because I think I tend to think like, oh, I already know this, and then just dismiss it. But I loved how she said, like, no, listen and try to figure out what more you can do with the information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she says, like at the very first thing in chapter 2, it says you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering, complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. So, like it all tied in together. What you can do with your mindset. So
I did
that's
not
what I
highlight
did.
that one, and I should have. Sorry. Who was talking? Go ahead.
I think is anybody else going? Can I go?
No, go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, well, I know Cindy's going to use her Jedi mind tricks on me and be saying these things to me. So I knew I needed to dive into this book because rather than her saying it to me, I need to learn it myself. I remember reading chapter 2, I think it was chapter 2 that somebody else said where she was talking about all the jobs she's had. And I was like, well, just because I don't know what I want to be when I grow up doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody does. And I think that the chapter I'm most excited for is chapter 10, because that sort of speaks to everything that I feel like I need. Whether it's fear or confidence or any of my excuses that are in my mind, if it all comes back to that, I can work from that. I can work from sharing what I'm good at with the rest of the world.
It's good. So I read chapter 10 today, and it is so good. And it reminds me, last year we had a guest trainer, Lindsay Hepburn, who is an NVP out here in Baltimore, and she trained on one of our meetings. And she said, I'm gonna have to find it. I don't want to butcher it. But she said, I'm gonna have to look it up. I am gonna look it up because I want you guys to specifically hear it. I want you to hear it, Kathy, because it is so powerful and it reminds me so much of this chapter. So it's good. I'm excited. And you're right, Cindy is going to like the funny thing about
You
this
both
is,
will. So I need to just get in it and do it myself.
yeah. When you're in this business, you hear these things over and over and over and over again. And so
I'm finally starting to absorb the positive messages. Finally starting to like be able to quiet the negative messages that I feel like I get everywhere else. Even that's 6 months later, that's slow to, that's been retraining my brain in itself.
She talks to that in this book too, for sure, about like just forgetting, like don't live your life based on what other people think. She responds a lot to that, so that'll be good for you too, for sure. Okay, who else wants to share? Again, you can share anything. A chapter you're excited about, something you highlighted. Go ahead.
That was also the chapter I was going to say I'm most excited for, because I'm kind of in a season of like reevaluating what I want to do, and not feeling like I know entirely what my gift is. But that the idea of like you being a special individual has been something that I've been like focusing on for the last several months, especially in my last promotion, just like speaking life over myself. And while I feel on the outside sometimes are different than other people, that what I have to bring to the world is important for my team, and like being able to speak that message over them. So that was one I was excited for too, Kathy.
I'm gonna find it here in 1 second. I think what she says is, hold on, I'm gonna find it. Maybe. I think what she says is, if you don't play your part goes unplayed, I think is what she says. And I just remember there was a little bit more power behind it when my friend said it. And I just remember thinking like, she's right. We all have different callings on our lives to fulfill, different things that we were meant to do, us individually. And if we're not brave enough to step in and make it happen and take the risk and speak up and do that thing, that specific thing for us is not going to get done, you know, because it was our calling, not Brandy's calling, not Shaylee's calling. It was mine. And if we don't play our part, then that part gets unplayed. And that has stuck with me ever since I heard it. And that's a lot of what that chapter will talk about for sure. I'm going to make sure that's what it was. So, all right. Does anybody else want to share?
I can share.
Okay.
So like Melissa said, like I would like want to read that chapter the most. The one about starting before you're ready. And honestly, that's how most things in my life turn out good. Like my job that I currently have, I kept saying, oh, I'm going to wait until like I'm in nursing school to start working in a hospital. I didn't. It worked out great. I said I was going to wait to start Arbonne until I was graduated. I started a month later and it's working out great. So like, I really just need to like stick with that and start when I think that I'm not quite ready and just do it, because those are the things that seem to be best. And like, even in the chapters that we read, there was a line about how she asks her mom, like, how does she know how to do so many things that she's never done before without people showing her how to do it? And her mom responds that nothing in life is that complicated and you can do whatever you set your mind to. And I feel like that's the same thing. Like, you don't need to be ready to learn how to do it. You can just do it. And it's like, they kind of go hand in hand. And I think that that's why I liked that line specifically and like look forward to that chapter specifically, because I feel like it's just very true to my life. I need to just like stop saying that I'm going to wait till I'm ready, because I'm not going to be ready. I need to just do it now.
What was I going to say about that? Isn't her mom awesome? I'm like, what? That is so cool. I wish I could be like that. Wish I could be like that. And what she's telling me is that I can. But yeah, that's great. No, I love that part. I love that part. And that is the quote is, that's what I said. That's what, it's not any different. So anyways, I know I want to feel like I can fix a radio. There's no way I'm ever able to fix a radio. All right, anybody else right now?
I think you could fix the radio, Laura.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe a little round orange one.
Yeah, right.
It is
I'll go
fun,
next.
like, oh, okay, go ahead, Erica.
I also am excited for chapter 8 because I am also a perfectionist. And if I don't do something to like the fullest, it's not going to get done. But one of the quotes I liked was actually in chapter 2 where she says, do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. So basically just starting, that doesn't have to be perfect, just do it and you'll get better at it.
We're the same person because I highlighted that same one. I highlighted 2 in chapter 2 and that was one of them for sure. When you know better, do better. And yeah, I think that applies to us in all areas of our lives, right? As we're learning more, then we need to, like, for example, with everything with Black Lives Matter, for example, like, I would say I'm someone who, as I look inward, I feel like I should have realized some things that I didn't know before I actually did truly understand different things. And now that I know, I actually am finding myself in a position where I feel more confident taking more action steps because now I know better, so I can do better, right? And it's always, I'm slowly learning as much as I can, but in all areas of our lives, that is absolutely the case. So, yeah, that's a good one too. But even back to the progress over perfection, if that's what it's called, like in Arbonne, we constantly are talking about small consistency, right? Just small bits of consistency. I watch ENVP Kat Teresina. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she lost a ton of weight this past year. But it's the 80-20 rule. And she did it all with the 80-20 rule. She's like, I don't hold myself to a standard I used to, which is impossible. Because as soon as I failed, I was done for like months before I tried again. She said, finally, one day I just decided that my best for the day was good enough. And sometime my best for the day included French fries for lunch. But since that was the case, I had a healthy dinner. So obviously I've heard that kind of stuff over and over and over again, but it's hard. It's like, I think finally it hit me on the head hard enough this time to really like turn it into like my own decision, you know? So yeah. All right, who else? Anybody else not share that wants to? All right, well, we didn't have any homework tonight. So of course I wasn't quite speaking in. Hey.
Where we all yell, hey, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
He looks so different.
I know.
With his hair gone.
I know. Evelyn's at home in Ohio with.
Make me feel self-conscious.
He feels self.
Wait, where is Brandon? Right there. I have to tell him something.
He's coming. He's fixing his hair.
So you have to hear this. This is so funny. Gracie said to me the other day, she's like, do you know what? Mr. Brandon looks like Justin Timberlake. I think that's why Miss Laura married him.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
If only.
No, she was so dead serious. She was so dead serious.
It's so funny. Tell her I love her.
I thought it was the funniest thing. And I go, do you know that Laura loves Justin Timberlake? And she's like, oh, that's why she married him.
I do love Justin Timberlake and my husband. So.
Good night, Dad.
He says
Ladies,
good
excuse me. Good night, ladies.
So we have no homework tonight. He asked how long tonight would be, and I said I have no idea. We have never done it in a group this size before, so we'll see how long these run. But if we have homework, chances are it'll go a little longer than 30 minutes every week. So just prepare for that. And we'll walk through homework and stuff too next week after chapter 3. So I was gonna say one more thing, but I'm not remembering. But I think this was a good opening to our book to see what's coming up. The next few weeks will be a little bit more in depth. So let's keep talking together. Tomorrow morning, I'll put up the video that we just watched and we'll have discussion on there. If you guys would get on and just say something that we talked about tonight, something that you said, like maybe put your favorite quote and why, or what chapter you're most excited about to get discussion going for those who weren't a part tonight. And then for this next week, we're going to read chapter 3 and do the homework. And then we'll meet again here next Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Does that sound good? All right.
Laura, is this like homework that she's giving in the book, or is this homework that you are giving?
She's giving the homework.
Okay. Wanted to make sure.
In the book. So for example, at the end of chapter 3, if I can get there, some of it is journaling. A lot of it is journaling, just like questions that she asked that you're supposed to take time and just like work through yourself and write out. So one of the questions is, why did you pick up this book? Well, so we won't answer. We don't have to answer that one because I told you to. No. What negative or limiting beliefs have stopped you from figuring this out until now? So whatever this is, I have to read through the chapter, through the questions again. Important changes that you want to make in your life and why you haven't until this point. So like different things like that. Some of them are a little bit more particular. Some of them are list making. Some of them are journaling, things like that. But each chapter has like 4 to 6 questions at the end. So just be prepared to discuss those together with whatever you're comfortable with, because some of them are more personal. Obviously, the more personal we can get, the better. That's the point of all this, to walk through it together. But yeah, so you'll need time. Like I would give yourself a day or 2 to really work through the homework to make sure you get it done well. So I'm not assigning homework, no. All right, any other questions? All right, well, I'm excited, girls. I'll see you before.
This was fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you thought so. All right, cool. So we'll chat tomorrow then on the Facebook.
All right.
Good. All right, good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.